Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. This is your match reaction. Manchester United 1, Brighton 3. Another terribly disappointing result for United. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good. Again, look, I give my opinions on the live. I don't think we were the worst team, but again, look, we've got some other opinions to give here as well. Obviously, we've got Chris and Desi is in as well. Desi is a passenger. If anyone, is being the fucking police or anything like that, he's actually a passenger. So, yeah. Do you know what? I made a TikTok before when I was driving the car, and you want to see the amount of absolute wibbles in the comments, just going, "What are you doing driving a car, recording?" Anyway, I was like, "Did you not ever see an episode of Top Gear?" I digress. Right, Chris, I asked you there just before we went live, and I told you to hold off on your answer. I said I thought we weren't the worst team in that game. Am I wrong, or am I just being a little bit deluded? What did you make of it?
I can't say that you're wrong, but I mean, we held some possession and everything like that, but we don't do anything with it. I mean, possession is nothing without chances, and that's the big issue is that, we don't, and I'll be honest, like they score. I mean, they scored because they crossed the ball. We get the ball in the wings and we don't cross the ball. We try to dribble. We try to do things like you got to put the ball in the mixer and you got to see what comes out. I mean, that's what happens. And I mean, we just don't do that. And it's rough. And it's, I mean, we tend to like to sit out in the wings and just, play ticky-tack football out there and try to make something happen when, you got to put the ball in, I mean, that's the way this is won, I mean, and that's what they did. They got the ball to the wings and they crossed it. I mean, Onana, I mean, if we cross the ball, maybe their goalkeeper makes the same mistake, but if you don't cross it, you never know.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the second goal, again, I think Onana should have come out or he should have cut that ball off going across the goal. I mean, it wasn't like a fired cross across. He could have came out and he could have taken one step out and caught the ball and we would have been on our way. But again, they crossed the ball and the guy in the back post makes a hell of a play and scores the goal. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, we don't have that, and it's troubling.
Yeah. Absolutely. Desi, how much did you see of it, if any at all? And if you did, what was your take on it?
I've seen most of it, Jack. I'm just on the way back here from dropping the kids home. But I would have to disagree with you in terms of you don't think we were the worst team. We won shot on goal for the whole team.
Yeah.
Which was the penalty. They had 3 shots on target and they scored 3 of them. And I just think overall it was a gutless performance, Jack. It's slapped back into reality. I agree with Chris on the second goal. I think Mazraoui thinks Onana's going to maybe snatch that and maybe even punch it away, and he doesn't go for the ball. Then that winger, I can't think of his name. What's his name? That guy that scored the second one.
Mitoma.
Yeah, he nicks in at the back post, and it's a great finish. And look, the third goal is just absolutely diabolical. He'd all the time, like when you see him coming out, you think, oh, he has it, that's grand. And to fumble the ball, it was actually hard to do what he done than actually catch it.
Yeah.
Look, slap back into reality, Jack. Those players have to go home and take a good long look at themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
Not good enough.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's just so desperately disappointing. Going down through it, I suppose chronologically. I mean, it's a bad start. It's a ball over the top, and I think obviously Mazraoui has to do better for it. And I do agree. But it's a very good ball. You can't be getting beaten that easily, Chris, by a long ball so early on in the game. Do you put and obviously, look, I'm not putting too much criticism on Mazraoui. Obviously individually he made a mistake, but he's been up there one of our best players this season. It seems to, and I really don't want to say this, but is it? I mean, the players that came in that have been brilliant all season for us. I hope I'm wrong with this, but are they falling into that fucking mindset that everyone else has of just, and how many times do we say it under Ten Hag? Early in the first half and early in the second half is when we were most vulnerable under Ten Hag. You know what I mean? Is it a mentality thing?
I don't think it's a mentality thing. I think we're reading too much into that one. I mean, like you said, it was a great ball over the top, but at the same time, it's an individual mistake by Mazraoui, because if you look at him at that, he's got his back to Matoma, his hips aren't open, so he doesn't know where he's at. So if he turns his hips and has a little bit of a view of Matoma, he knows where he's at and he can turn and run with him. But his back is to him and he has to turn and then he has to react. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, for me, it's, the first thing you get taught is if you're the backside defender, you have to have your hips open so you can see the whole field. Yeah. And if you look at him, his hips are completely closed. He's use the term loosely, ball watching, and he has no idea who's behind him.
Yeah.
I mean, and you just got to take that position. And if you're playing on that, if you're the last defender on that side, you may be able to play a step deep because you can always step up for the offside if you want to do offside, if you want to try to catch him offside. But you got to give yourself the idea, because you know who Matoma is.
Yeah.
He's going to try to sneak him behind you, and he's got the pace, and he can dribble, and so you have to understand. Now, does he have to be right on him? No, he's positionally on the pitch right, but his hips aren't open, and he doesn't see him until the ball's already played over his head. Yeah. And that's the issue there. I mean, that's my take on it. I mean, I just think it's an individual error on that. I mean, it's a great ball over the top, and I just think you look at that one, and then the other two goals are bad judgment on Onana on the second one, and a howler on the third one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just that's the way I see that one. But again, like Desi alluded to, besides the penalty kick, and we didn't really have a chance on net.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a big concern. Let me get through some of the comments here. Are we talking about relegation now? No, I don't think so. I mean, we're 10 points off of relegation. That's not going to happen. Let's see. Patrick says, if you can't trust your keeper, you're in trouble. We've always had a trustworthy keeper. Schmeichel, Van der Sar, De Gea, even Romero was better than this. D says, there are 5 players in the whole squad good enough to be playing here. Naus, Delict, Yoro, Diallo, Ugarte. I can't be fucked with the rest of them. Folks saying Gyökeres at that age was scoring 0. Oshin says, I love Chris's ways of saying you're wrong. I can't say that you're wrong, but D says, difference is Gyökeres was at Swansea, not playing for the biggest club on the planet. That's a good point as well. Oshin says, never seen a passenger changing gears, by the way. Yeah, that's true, in fairness. Acer says, Onana is, you're getting blocked for that. You're getting absolutely blocked for that. Good luck and good night. Apologies for even showing that. Let's see, what else have we got? Onana needs sold now fast. Right, well, let's talk about it then, Desi. Onana, obviously, look, mistakes, and people in the chat are saying we need to prioritise a goalkeeper in the summer and so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, like I said, you've got to, he puts in, a 2 or 3 month spell of being really good. And now he's back to, every 2 or 3 weeks making really high class errors. Do we need to prioritise a goalkeeper?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No.
All right.
Why, Jack? Because he has a bad game. Or because he has a bad... Like last week, would you have sold him? Or against Southampton, would you have sold him?
Yeah, but my point being is that there's too many weeks where people are saying we should sell him.
Yeah, nah. I still think he's a good goalie. Look, like you said there, he goes on 3 month spells of having great games. Like it's just about getting that right consistency over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say you have to prioritize getting another goalkeeper. I still think he's a good goalkeeper. Yeah. Obviously, on today's performance, you say, are you mad in the head? Or maybe a couple of other performances that you could pull out of the bag. But you're going to match up his good performances with his bad performances and then read in between the lines and say, well, can we get him to a position mistakes don't happen so often?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Chris, what's your thoughts on it?
I don't think we prioritize a goalkeeper. I mean, I just think he needs to be held accountable, just like everybody else. I think that at this point, with that howler, that the next game Binder needs to play. And I
Yeah.
mean, you need to hold him accountable. Just like if anybody makes a mistake or does something that is very out of form and out of character and stuff like that, you sit him and you're just honest with him, being like, hey, you need to be better than this.
So,
Can't.
more than anything else, more than prioritizing a goalkeeper for in the summer, you need to prioritize maybe a goalkeeper to challenge Onana more than anything else.
I mean, but here's the thing. We don't see what happens at Carrington and everything like that. But at this point, if you're never going to pull your goalkeeper for the mistakes that he makes and stuff like that, or for the inconsistency that he has shown from time to time, if you don't hold him accountable, then even if you have someone that challenges him at Carrington, if you're never going to pull him for something, then what's the big point? At that point,
Yeah.
I think Binder. I mean, don't get me wrong. Do I think Binder's the save all and cure all and everything like that? No, but if you instill it just like everybody else on the field, on the pitch, that, hey, you can't be making these mistakes. You can't be doing that. You can't be, slagging off or, taking your, losing the concentration. Just like, I'll put it this way, just like when we get on Rashford or anybody else that doesn't track back and doesn't give the raw. Well, he had a moment, this is the same situation just with a goalkeeper. He lost the mentality of, hey, I need to be here, and everything like that. Whether he was, looking to see where he can put the ball down the field or whatnot before he caught the ball. Either way, it's a drop. He needs to be held accountable. And whether Amarin gets on his ass in the next training session or something, you got to hold the players accountable. And I think that if Amarin doesn't do that, then that kind of sends a message too. Like, it's okay for him to make a mistake, but the rest of us, we have to be perfect.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I look at it at that point.
Yeah, 100%. Let me see, what have we got here? Patrick says, did you just say we were the best team on the park? What game are you watching? You're delusional, my friend. Thanks for the watch-alongs. Gutless, one of the lads used there. He's spot on. Right, Patrick. Okay, sorry. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Fuck's sake. Onana throws two balls into the goal, and Mazraoui goes to sleep for one in over the top. But no, we weren't, the better team. I don't know. It's just my opinion. D says Rangers beat a mob playing. Oh yeah, that's to do with that. Dylan with the super chat says the things we need is goals. We need a striker here to score 25, 30 goals a season. Highland can't offer that, and sadly never will. I don't agree with that at all. You know what I mean? I think, and thanks for the super chat, Dylan. Like I said, I respect everyone's opinion, unlike Patrick does mine. But I respect your opinion. But I think more than anything else, I think one, Highland is young, who at 21 years of age was scoring 30 goals a season in their career. Nobody. And second of all, we create next to nothing for our forward players. You know what I mean? So
that was the big problem today, Jack.
Yeah.
We're not creating enough to punish teams. I go back, we'd one shot on goal, it was a penalty. Like, we'd one shot on target, it's a penalty. For the whole duration of the game, we've nothing. So as much as I can see what you're saying as well, Jack, we might have looked the better team in terms of being on the ball from the back, walking out from the back or passing the ball around. Fine. But that doesn't win your football matches at the end of the day. It's what you do when you get to the final third, and can we get in and can we penetrate against our back line and create clear-cut chances. And we just didn't do it today at all. And as Chris said earlier on, we might get down to the byline. We're not putting balls into the mix-up. It's going backwards, and then all of a sudden, Brighton, like, I think with 10 minutes to go, the commentator said we had Brighton just so comfortable at the back, because as much as Ahmad might get down the wing, if he does get by the man, and I know he's been very good for us, Jack, sometimes just throw it into the mix-up, especially when we're chasing the game. Just put it in there and hope that something comes off, instead of just trying to beat everybody on your own as well. Listen, I'm not criticising him. He's been absolutely brilliant for it.
Yeah.
But it's the same on the opposite flank as well, Jack.
Yeah, of course. And it's game management as well, ain't it? You know what I mean? You go, right, just put it in there. See what happens.
Put them under pressure, Jack. Give Brighton something to think about even. Do you know what I mean? Because it's nearly like they see us out in the wing and they're like, oh, we know what's going to happen here. He's going to come down. He's probably going to beat the man, turn back, and so we don't have to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Well, the other issue is I mean, you look at it, and even in the second half, when Garnacho came on and everything like that, we're supposed to be playing with 2 number 10s in behind the striker. Where is Garnacho and Ahmed the whole time? They're on the wing. So who's in the middle of the park? Like, nobody. I mean, this is the issue. Like, if Garnacho and like
is there an argument there? Is there an argument there, Chris, when the two of them go wide, that Bruno steps up into the 10?
Yeah, but even then what are you going to do at Mazraoui and Dalot? They got no room.
Yeah.
If the two are out wide, now they have to come inside, and that's not what they do. I mean, those guys, we need to have more guys in the center of the park and rely on Mazraoui and Dalot. They're playing wingback. They need to fly up the sides. It shouldn't be Garnacho sitting out there. Garnacho should be inside. He shouldn't. I'll be honest with you. I mean, barring a certain percentage, he should be inside the 18. Inside the 18-yard box, he should not be going out the wide, because he should be playing those 1-2s with the wingbacks. Because if they're always out wide, and don't get me wrong, and maybe Ahmad should be playing wingback at that point, so he can come down the wing like he always does, and then have Garnacho and Bruno playing at 10. But they need to be central. If you go back and watch the game, and I was watching it second half, even first half, we have no one in the center of the park because everybody floats wide.
Well, let me throw this argument, or not an argument, but a stat at you then. We are still yet to score in open play when Mazraoui and Dalot have played as wing-backs under Amram. And you look at it against Southampton, we scored 3. Now, albeit, it was 3 in the last few minutes, but it was Ahmad as a wing-back.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a misleading stat and everything like that, because you have to look at who we're playing and how they play and the style and everything like that. But at the same time, we're killing our own space is what I'm trying to say. Is like, we have too many guys in one space and we have no one in the middle. So in order to switch the ball, it has to go all the way back around, because we have no center midfielders. We have no number 10 sitting in the middle. And even Bruno's at fault for this, because he likes to drift wide. He likes to go out wide, and then he doesn't stay in the center of the park. And then that leaves Xerxes or Højlund, and this is where we talked about before. What kind of service why would you play a ball into someone that it's 1 versus at least 2 or 3? Because if they have a CDM and 2 center backs, it's 1 versus 3 in the middle. And
well, let me ask you this question then, and I agree with everything you've said. How many players do we need to sign to fix this? You know what I mean? If you were to sign players that play in the 10, that don't drift out wide, that I think a big one is that we need more wing backs who are wingers, more so than defenders, if they are going to be the wide players attacking, 2 to play in the 6. How many actual players do we need for this Amram system to work?
4.
I was going to say 5. Yeah, but 4.
I think 4.
2, 1.
I think 4, because I think you need a striker, you need another cam, you need another number 10, because I'm putting Diallo out on the wing back, not putting him as a 10. So you need someone to play inside with Bruno. You need a CDM, and I still think you need one more stronger center back. I think it's all down the middle of the park at this point, because I think you need someone that, and I'm not trying to slight Bruno, because I love Bruno and everything like that, but let's be honest, Bruno is not the best with the ball at his feet, taking guys on in small spaces. And that's what you need out of that player. And I'll go back to him, and I know this is not the player that I want or anything like that. But if you watch Paulo Dybala when he plays, he creates magic in the center of the park. Yes. He creates magic in the center of the park because he's good in tight spaces. He can play small little 1-2s, and he's got the quick movements. That's what you need out of a player like that. That's what you need out of that person. And we don't, and to be honest with you, we don't have that. Now, if Garnacho can turn into that, that'd be great, but he's not there yet. And that's where everybody's going up in arms. Oh, we're going to sell Garnacho and everything like that. Okay, if the right offer comes in, I'm not opposed to it. Now, do I want to see him go to Chelsea? No. But at the same time, it's whether Amram wants this. If he foresees him fitting our system, then you keep him. If he doesn't, make the money and move on.
Yeah, I did say that when Amram came in, that Garnacho was going to have the biggest learning curve of any player, because he never plays in the 9, he never plays in the 10, he never plays in the 6, and he's never played wing back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And it's the same thing with Rashford. Rashford doesn't fit the system. Garnacho is young enough that maybe he can turn into something that fits the system, but we don't. I mean, we're playing square pegs and round holes at this point and trying to hope for a result. But we are not dangerous when it comes to the final third at all. And it's just like, and to be honest with you, and I beg you, go back and watch the game. Our midfielders go out wide. Everybody goes out wide and leaves the center of the park.
Yeah.
And it's and you can't expect whether it's Casemiro, Eriksson, Collier, Ugarte to be coming up, because then that's just going to leave the space open behind them, and then we're going to get on them. We're getting wrecked in the midfield. I mean, they can only do so much. Those guys have to stay inside the 18, because even when you press, they're in the right spot when you press.
Yeah.
And we just get caught out of position so much because everybody wants to. I'll be honest, I wish this was a stat. We make the most meaningless passes of any team in the Prem.
Sideways,
little 5-yard passes. Play to Bruno. Bruno plays the ball right back to whoever gave it to him. Why?
Yeah.
Like the defender sitting there going, do it all day long, please.
Yeah. Well, Desi,
I don't have to move.
Desi, let me ask you about this then. We are in a transfer window. We have done zero business so far. Is there an argument that this manager could be supported better, and we could have players in by now, and you could maybe move on some of the deadwood, and there's 2 weeks left? But is that a fair argument to throw at the ownership?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say so. Yeah, why not? Like, there's no time like the present, Jack. And if you need players to make things work, like I was coming back in the car there and I was thinking to myself, I remember I said last week, and Chris as well, it might have even been the week before, to win or to compete for the league, you have to beat the lower teams. What's concerning now is we might have to beat them to stay up, Jack. And I'm not saying that, like, as in, listen, hold on, I'm not trying to be as negative here, but I'm just saying, before you know it, Jack, you said something about the mentality earlier on. I did think about that too. Is it just an internal thing when new players come in? Have we not got the right mentality? We might think we're brilliant because we've won 3 games, and then we just go back into our own mindset, or we're not going to win the next one. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that. I don't know. I did think that Anram was getting into certain players' heads, and the belief, like, we've seen it against Arsenal, we've seen it against who did we play after them? Was it Liverpool? No, who did we play? Liverpool,
Arsenal.
And I thought maybe we've turned the corner in terms of a psychological approach to a game, but I'd just be more concerned with the fact that, right, we know they're not giving them money. It looks like they're not going to. Can he see through now to the end of the season with this group of players, and can they just start picking up points when we need them? Because the longer this goes on, Jack, let me tell you something. It's very hard to lose, or it's very hard to win when you're losing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's very hard to lose when you're winning. And a lot of the teams that are beating us are on good runs at times, and we're still in the same old fucking slot. So I just hope that we can start to gather a few points against these. I don't want to disrespect any other club, but the clubs that would not be classed as big as Man United.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and like when you look at it as well, we're in the middle of a fixture, I suppose, list now where you're saying we should be picking up points, and the Southampton and the Brighton games were the start of it. Then you've got Fulham, you've got Crystal Palace, you got Leicester City, but Fulham are no fucking pushovers
and
either.
Jack, you know what? It seems like the same scenario in Ten Hag. It seems like we turn up for the big games. It's like the players come to life when we're playing the bigger teams. And is it a lack of respect when we turn up against the likes of Brighton or Southampton, or are we going out thinking we're a little bit bigger? Don't disrespect these clubs. Yes, we have to respect them, but we have to match their energy, Jack. We have to match their game plan. We have to be able to win the second balls. And it seems like when we come up against the lower side of teams, which we are one of them now, we don't have the same passion going into these games.
Yeah.
And it's clear to see, like, when you look at even the Arsenal game, and you look at the game today, or look at the Liverpool game, look at the game today, they're chalk and cheese. in terms of passion and want and desire.
Well, I said it, didn't I,
The
Desi? I
reason
said
why
it.
Brighton won today, Jack, is because they wanted it more than us.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's,
And I said it after the Liverpool and Arsenal game. I said it's easy to get fucking get motivated for Liverpool and Arsenal. Let's see how motivated they'll be against Southampton and Brighton at home. You know what I
did they
mean?
look motivated today, Jack? That's your
No,
answer to your
no.
question.
Well,
No, they didn't.
well. I mean, I mentioned a couple of times there that I thought the intensity of our pressing I thought was good for large
Yeah.
parts of the game. I did think that. Now I have to say, but it goes back to the things we're falling down on all the time: individual errors and lack of goals, lack of creation. You know what I mean? Lack of someone to go, give me the fucking ball. I'll do it. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big concern. You know.
And I think
I mean,
Chris has a very valid point in terms of those two players going out wide. No, in fairness to you, Chris, you do read the game really well, and like we're at the end of the day, it's all opinions, and your opinion is very valid. If you do go back and watch the game, he's correct in what he's saying. Is that we're lost in there, and it has to go all the way around the back to go to the other side, and there's nobody in there to pick pockets or pick holes and try and get us on the turn,
Yeah.
and it is concerning, Jack. We do need Anram needs different players in there to play the style that he wants, and we can say what we want, Jack. Unless they back him, the manager's an easy cop out for every United fan to turn around and say, when we're not winning games, it's his fault. We need a new manager. It's not. We need to get the right profile of player into the club to suit the way he wants to play so that we can transition from being an ordinary fucking team to being a good team again. And that's what we need. And hopefully come to someone and they'll sit down, they'll talk about what he's looking for. Maybe I don't know what way it works, and they'll go after these players because we need them big style.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing is, I mean, if you want to talk about the next steps, and even next steps for like Bruno Fernandes, is that he needs to be sat down and said, you need to stay in the center, and you need to fill in the pockets, and you need to do this, and this is what you need to do. And I don't want to see you out wide. I don't want to see you out there, you know, and everything like that. You can make maybe a run every now and then, but you need to be in the center of the park because you need to demand the ball, and you need to be able to play 1-2s and things with Højlund and Xerxes in the middle, and you need to be dangerous at that point, you know. What is this? Yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
I mean, but the other thing is, I mean, I know that I read that they put an offer in for Gonzalo Inacio from Sporting, center back, left-footed center back.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Loan with an obligation to buy 34
Were they
million
going for your
pounds.
man, Chris?
What's that?
Did I see a report they were going for your man Muani, and now he's going? Is he going to Juventus?
He's gone to
or
Juve.
something?
He's gone to Juve, yeah.
He's
yeah.
gone to Juve.
To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of that lad. He's only scored fucking 3 goals this season in the French league. What's he going to do for United in the Premier League? You know what I mean?
But I mean, it again. We talk about backing the manager, and because I read that the representatives for Inacio were in Manchester this week talking about a deal and everything like that.
if they're in Old Trafford today, they won't be quick about leaving.
No, but the difference is just a matter of you always want to look at the right people to buy. You can't just go out and buy. You can't be doing the.
Don't panic buy. Don't do a fucking Ed Woodward on it and panic buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So you go out there and you get the players that are going to be that you want to be in the squad going forward. With a loan with an obligation to buy, if it's true, if it's 34 million pounds, which is about 40 million euros, is what they've met the evaluation for Sporting, and he's loaned with an obligation in the summer. That should be a done deal. That should be done. See you later.
Should be done by now.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, even if you do that, and I know I just said the comment, we're putting square pegs in round holes. But if Ignacio plays on that left side, maybe you move Martinez in there with Ugarte. And
imagine that.
They just wreck everything.
I'd love that. I'd love that. It'd be like, do you ever see a young lad walking around the beach just fucking busting everyone else's sandcastles up? That's what it'd be like.
I've always wanted to see Martinez in there. I don't know.
I mean,
I've always wanted to see him in there.
I think those two, you want to talk about, nobody would want to play in the middle of the park with those two guys. I mean, let's just be honest. There may 100%. Be yellow cards all over the place, but I'm going to tell you someone's going to be limping by 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's like, and I'll throw this back on Amron. I'm a big Amron fan. And but he needs to get control of this certain players and be like, hey, stop it. You need to be here. You need to be in the center. You need to be better, and everything like that. Because I'll say it. Bruno wasn't my favorite player today. I mean, he had a subpar performance because
let me ask you. Sorry, something just popped into my head, and if I don't ask you, I'll forget about it. Again, is there an argument that Ruben Amorim hasn't had a lot of time to prepare for this game? Because we've seen the 2 games where he's had 7 days of preparation. We've been really good, and the games that come thick and fast, where it's rest, prepare, and then straight into another game, we've been bad.
I mean, does that factor in? Yes, but I can't make that an excuse, because if you prepared 7 days before, it's not like you're changing the system and you got to prepare again. So
that's a good point.
It's up to the player, and like Desi said, the manager is always the first one to get the finger pointed. So you got to look at the players and be like, why weren't you doing the same thing you did last game in this game? And to be honest with you, Jack, you know this, Desi, you know this, we all played and everything like that. The players need to make changes themselves and look at themselves on the field and say, hey, this isn't working. I need to do this a little bit different, and I need to do that. It's called leadership, and like the people were saying, we don't have that guy. Like Jack, you were saying, you don't have the guy saying, play the ball through me.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see Bruno do. I want to see Bruno not coming deep and getting the ball and playing the ball out. I want to see him in the middle of the park saying, play through me. And if he loses it, and if he gets tackled by 3 guys, I'm okay with it, because at least he's making that effort to try to play the ball through, and that's my biggest issue, is that we're just like, it's like the players on the field don't make the necessary changes in their own head.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's
that's a good one there. Sorry, Jack. I know that's a really good one, Chris, because when you're a player on the field, and listen, I've never been to the standard of any of these players, and I wouldn't lace any of their boots. But by looking at good players, that in certain situations, in certain games, they are good enough, they understand the game, that sometimes you just have to grab the bull by the horns yourself and change it up a little bit to see, does it actually help us in terms of what I'm trying to do. If it doesn't, fine, but we just haven't got those characters.
And it doesn't have to be, looking for the ball all the time. It doesn't have to be a goal. It can be something as simple as fucking a tackle. You know what I mean? Or get up and win in a header, or whatever the case,
Just up, and as Roy Keane would say,
yeah, it's going to go kick someone to make me feel better.
Yeah. But it's true, though. He was speaking from the heart when he said that. People laughed at it, but he honestly committed and said, and look, I'm not having a good game. I'm just going to smash into somebody here and let them know I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think that's what Ugarte does. I mean, Ugarte lets you know he's there, and Toby 100%. Collar, nice player and everything like that. He's just not ready.
Yeah, I've been impressed with him. I've been impressed with what he's done so far. I think he's had some good. Now, look, albeit there have been cameo roles, you know what I mean? But, I mean, if we were talking about moving Casemiro on in January, I'm okay with him being the backup, to be honest with you. Now, you wouldn't obviously want Ugarte getting injured or anything, but, to be able to bring Ugarte off or change it up,
No, but I mean, I think that it's... Go ahead, Jesse.
In fairness with the transfers, the 2 first ones we want to see coming in as United fans would be the wing-back position, because they're so important in that system.
Yeah.
And we need to really settle down on who's going to play there, how we're going to play the game. Because as you're seeing with Ahmad playing the wing-back position, you're just putting up a good point with Mazraoui and Dalla. When they play, we haven't scored from open play. When Ahmad plays in the wing-back position, we seem to create a little bit more. So, we need that wing-back position to get those runs on down the ring and start penetrating.
Create.
So I'd love to see us, as much as we want to see a striker, and it's great getting another striker, but if you can't get the fucking ball to him, sorry for the language, forget about it. You know what I mean?
No, I watched the game yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched it, but did you watch the Bournemouth game? When you look at Kluivert, and everybody wrote him off when he was young and everything like that. But the one thing you watch about Kluivert, where is he at all the time? He's in the center of the park. He's always there. He's scoring goals he's scoring from the center of the park. And the other thing is that opens up, and the other guy that everybody wants is that Kirkes kid. And what does he do? He bombs down the wing, and what does he do? He puts the ball across the goal. I mean, I mean, I'm not saying that Diallo needs to do that all the time. Like Desi said, you can go at players, and if the guy opens up and he lets you go to goal, go to goal. But at the same time, there's times that you got to just put the ball across.
Yeah,
You know,
and I think
it's like we don't. We keep doing the same thing, Jack. Like
yeah.
It's like, right, we haven't put any balls into the box. Somebody should tune in and say, "Oh, give him a shout," and say, "Next time you get there, put it into the mixer for us." Like, you're after having 3 or 4 goals.
Give me the fucking thing here. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Anyway, look, lads, we'll leave it there, right?
Yeah.
We could be here all night.
Come on, we'll go for another half an hour.
No, well, off you go. I'm going for Guinness now, so you can do whatever you want. No, but boys, look, I appreciate you coming on as always.
Yeah,
And
Jack,
I think
you'll
we've
get
got...
down the pub like this, look.
I know. And you know what? A lad said to me the other night, you only when it was in after the Arsenal game, you only come in here when United win. I said, and it was a Liverpool lad. I said, fuck you. I said, I walked in this door a half an hour after we were best 7-0 by ye fuckers. So anyway, I'm going over tonight just to prove him wrong. And anyway.
What do you think? Does Big Ange get the...
Fuck Big Ange and fuck everyone else bar Man United.
That's result, to be honest.
I like Big Ange. You know what I mean?
But I mean, there's got to be some pressure on him, just like
there is
anybody else.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
and I'll be honest. The guy that said that he wasn't backed in the transfer, Big Ange wasn't. They bought Van de Ven, Kuselewski, Brennan Johnson, Solanke, and he got a couple players back. So don't tell me he wasn't back. They were at the top of the table, and now they just went like this with the
Thanks
same
for watching the Spurs Community Channel, lads. We'll see you next week. No, I get where you're coming from. I know. Look, we'll talk about it during the week. But
throwing himself in the deep end every week.
I watch everybody and anybody. I watch
that.
There's hardly a Premier League game that I don't watch.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll miss the next one, obviously, but I'll see you next weekend. I'm in Manchester for the Rangers game, so I'll talk to you next weekend.
So hopefully my TikTok's back. Otherwise, Jack, you got to put it on Instagram.
All right, I'll do that. I'll make sure I'll do that for you.
Down, lad.
Appreciate it, boys. Chat to you next week. Appreciate everyone else, guys. Thanks for watching. Look, it wasn't the result we were hoping for, but again, look, it's the live chat and the watch along were fantastic today, so I do appreciate it. Do hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. Again, another poor day out for Manchester United, but yeah, like I said, I'm going to Old Trafford on Thursday, so let's hope it'll be a little bit better against Rangers. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Take it easy.